Welcome again to another edition of the Front Row Roundtable Show. Thanks for being with us. Our usual panelists, like somebody wins a prize afterwards.
Yeah.
Big John Milkowski, St. John's Radio Network, Marty Bin, Fairway Mortgage.
I thought it was see, when I get the ankle bracelet off, I don't have to come anymore, right? I thought my community service was going to be up, and then I could get out. Okay, never mind.
No, you're fine.
Okay, good. All right.
I got to come back to that, but I'm just not going to go there.
All right, don't tell my parole officer I said that.
Because Marty was talking politics right before we started, and we don't want to go there. All right,
You don't want to go. I can go there anytime.
No, I do, but I don't want half the audience to.
Turn the channel.
Yeah.
Like happened mid first quarter during the Super Bowl last weekend?
Lowest rated Super Bowl in, 10 years?
Well, did you see the chart? Because it goes like that as the game goes on.
I almost fell asleep. Almost. I was nodding. I was starting to fade.
I paid less attention to this Super Bowl than I have in years.
Did you see
I was on my phone. I was on the iPad reading.
Did you see Trey Wingo freak out, flip out?
Oh, yeah. Calm down.
Oh, just shut up. Just shut up.
Well, yeah, he's right. Turn the channel. That's fine. And a lot of people did.
Yeah, they did. I mean, the ratings tells the story. It doesn't have to be anybody's opinion.
Here's where I'm angry, because normally what keeps like a bad game like that or a blowout or whatever entertaining is at least you're craving the next commercial. And but for a couple T-Mobile ones and like one or two random things, the commercials were awful this year.
Yep.
Norm, you were right. I was wrong.
The
you were
NFL
smart,
promo one was the only good one.
Yeah, and that was cool.
And I somehow missed that one because I didn't see it.
But other than that, it was like, okay, so the game was difficult to watch, and if you're not a purist, it was really hard. I mean, there were elements of it that I thought were fascinating, but the commercials didn't get you. So if you were a casual fan, you were definitely, kicking back.
There are some marketing people that are making insane amounts of money to put that out too.
Yeah, like Andy Warhol eating a hamburger. Right.
Oh yeah,
And what was it for?
Well, it was for Burger King. I do remember that.
Okay. Because I didn't remember.
My kids had no idea who he was, so it just went.
So the joke was completely lost.
It doesn't really fit in with the Maroon 5 crowd, does it?
Well, and I like apparently there's nipple bias in America because he can show his and Janet can't show hers. I mean, that was my favorite little part of the Twitter dialogue.
Equal rights.
Yes. I mean, show them all as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'll say it.
I don't care one way or the other. I didn't watch it.
I was glad the WWE put on halftime heat because that's what we turned to, and that was much more entertaining from what I heard.
Well, the post that people had with his initial shirt versus their couch pillows, and then his ink versus the Chipotle bag and whatever. That was the best part of the early third quarter was looking at all that, and I'm like, wow, this is where I'm down to in a football game.
Difference between.
Well, what I was going to say is, so to me, the best moment of the Super Bowl, and this is not a Romo homer moment, but the moment in the early fourth quarter where he points out, because I had missed it, that the Rams slowed it down and were coming out of the huddle late when there was less than 15 seconds left, so Belichick and the defensive coordinator couldn't know what they were doing because they had him so dead to rights on film, and then they could actually move the ball a little bit because they couldn't check into the defense they wanted, was fascinating to me. And I've watched it twice on replay since last week, and it's spot on.
You've watched the Super Bowl twice on replay after
if you watch
falling asleep the first time?
But when you watch it fast and there's no anything between plays, I mean, you know those games. It's come on, you've done enough film work.
Get it done in 25 minutes.
Oh, it's a half hour. And by the way, when it's punt, you don't have to wait for the possession change and the 18 bad commercials during the possession change. It's not that hard, but it's weird to me that if you're a purist, that's a really cool moment in the game when you realize.
He said that word, purist.
I thought we were going to wait until the third block to get to purists when we discussed that. But
fine.
I guess purist means too you don't care that the guy that was MVP in the Super Bowl was suspended for 4 games for PEDs at the start of the season.
There was a very good conversation about that yesterday on the radio.
Yeah, but nobody in the telecast announced it. Said anything about it. Not that I know of.
No, but then in Major League Baseball, if you fail a PED test anytime in the season, you are suspended for that postseason.
Right.
You can't play. I mean, you can miss the first 80 games, but if your team makes postseason, you're done. The difference in the way PEDs are perceived between the NFL and Major League Baseball is it's weird that it's just night and day.
No, because I think people realize football is a gladiator sport, and they're all putting their bodies at risk, so we give them a mental hall pass for cheating.
So
you asked about it. I think that's what happens is you just say, you know what, they're getting their brains beat out all the time. Oh, well, if they want to do a little more to their body, what do I care? And in baseball, because the purists are all about, the integrity of the game.
Said it again.
Yes, purist. It was my word of the day this morning.
Here's the thing, though, that people don't understand. It's not about going after the cheaters. What it's really about is protecting the guys that don't want to do the stuff. That's really what it's all about. But
football token protects those people because it has this weird set of rules that sometimes
they don't
protect
it.
You're saying what I'm saying. So everybody, we all acknowledge that football is a sport where at the end of the day we enjoy watching people beat their brains out. So I think that's where the hall pass comes because we're not really protecting anybody. We just want them back out there healthy as quick as possible so they can beat the other guy's brains out more than they get theirs beat out.
But it's the same thing with the concussions. Everybody in the NFL too, they can talk about all this. We want the game to be safe, but they don't call it. They don't care if a guy runs over after being out on his feet on the field. He runs over to the tent, runs in, and runs back out, and okay, he's ready to go. They don't care. I mean, they don't. Whatever you want to do. I mean, and this has happened for 40 years since the Steelers in the 70s.
Yeah. And it led to the stupidest call I think that I've seen in quite a while was the penalty on the hit on the receiver.
Oh, you mean the running back?
Yeah. Yeah. That
the defenseless running back.
Yeah. Who had caught the ball, and he got tackled as soon as he caught the ball, but somehow that was a penalty for not allowing him to do a football move.
Oh yeah.
Well, but
before he got hit.
But the fact that it was on Nickel Roby-Coleman.
Oh yes.
Who didn't get the call in the NFL?
Well, that was one of my favorite
game.
deja vu moments. And the second one is when a Rams fan texts me as the game's going on when Brandon Cooks clearly is interfered with, where his whole one arm is yanked down, where he can only get his other arm up, and says that's pass interference. I'm like, dude, you don't get to say that. Yeah. Put your phone down, right? I mean, you're a Rams fan. Zip it. That's karma coming back, buddy. Just get over it. Because there's a whole bunch of people in New Orleans flying the bird for you right now going, get over it.
Can we put this Tom Brady win in the Eli Manning column for Super Bowl wins?
Eli or Peyton's last one.
Yeah, I mean, this was the defense that won this one. But the guys won 6. And you're not going to win every one of them real pretty.
I was trying to figure out why, the force the ball to Kevin Hogan game plan was in place too, because he wasn't open that much, and it seemed like every time they threw it there, something dumb happened or bad happened. But and when are we going to know what's really going on with Todd Gurley? Because someone's going to have to explain. I mean, if you want the mystery of the Super Bowl to me, what is the Todd Gurley story? Please explain.
Well, and what's the difference between last year when Malcolm Butler doesn't play, and there's 6 weeks afterwards, everybody wants to grill Bill Belichick and, wants to throw him on the fire, and Gurley doesn't play, and nobody says a word about it.
Well, it's because, he's a genius. Just ask him.
That would have won some money, actually. Let's take a time out. We'll come back. We're going to talk more NFL when we come back here. Watching the Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. You heard that, I did. We'll be right back.
Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good no matter what your taste. It's that good. Come early, stay late. Burgers and beer. A shot of cheer. Great food and fun. It's that good here. Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good.
Mortgage Marty here. It's spring buying season's right around the corner. In fact, now is the best time to get started. Gives us a little lead time. If there's things we need to tweak, we can get on it right away. Remember, those credit inquiries don't affect your score any more than they will if you check later. So one inquiry, whether it's now and then again in the spring, still only counts as one, won't hurt your score. We helped 3 customers this week improve their score by an average of 30 points. So reach out now. Let's get that started. 419-461-0667 or marty.bin, BIHN, at fairwaymc.com.
It's February Fury as Powerbomb Wrestling is back in action in Toledo on Sunday, February the 10th at 5 p.m. at St. Clements Hall, 2990 Tremainsville Road. Unchained Brandon Day defends the heavyweight title against former champion, the amazing Nate Matson. Also, Madman Fulton, the Circus of Pain, Sexy Sean Casey, Malice, Ben Boone, Queen Amanada, and more in action. Get your advanced discount tickets right now at pbwexcitement.com. It's coming up February the 10th. It's Powerbomb Wrestling. Back we are on the Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. Don't forget, half-price appetizers at Ralphie's any night after 9 o'clock, which would be right now. If you have a late-night hunger pain, you can always do that. Of course, burgers, wings. Marty's had all the draft beer.
Yes, I have. And many other libations.
There you go. And I want to remind everybody, too, if you're a pro wrestling fan, our Powerbomb Wrestling event coming up tomorrow at St. Clements Hall, 2990 Tremainsville. Doors open at 4:15, bell time at 5. And we always say...
And they have draft beer there.
Yes.
Well,
no.
bottled
beer. Okay. There you go.
Not draft, but bottles.
They have libation.
Norm goes and gets it before the show. So.
Okay. Good man.
All right. Getting back to NFL. Something kind of interesting, I thought, was there were some finances released from the Kansas City Chiefs. And this stuff is...
Not intentionally. In fact, they fought tooth and nail to not have it out.
Well, they didn't want it out, but it was legally out.
Right.
Before they got it squashed.
And it's been out for years. It's been
And no
sitting
one
out
really
there
paid
for
much
3
attention
years
to it.
before anybody noticed. And now it's not out there because if you try to find it, it's not out there. They have now.
But the Kansas City paper did get copies of it before it went away.
Correct. Because we're always talking about what players
So a
make.
financial disclosure fell in the forest and the paper was there to hear it, so it did make a sound.
Is that fair that all the players' salaries get all put out into the media and everywhere else, but what the owners make doesn't?
See, this is you and your whole fairness thing. No, but who cares? No one said life's fair.
Well, if you say who cares, that pretty much blows this whole segment.
No, not to me, because here's what I thought was fascinating, and I'm not trying to make light of this.
See, actually, that's a killer phrase.
I know, I won't do it anymore. Yes, I will
nobody cares, and time will tell. And
they made what, $80 million max, $40 million
I think
max?
people don't care because they don't know.
Okay, so they made between $40 and $80 million the team did, depending on the numbers.
Well, I'm going to get
Forbes predicted it at 80.
I'm going to get
Oh, that's
to
right.
the
It
numbers.
ended up being 40.
And it was like 47.
I'm going to get to the numbers.
So, but 40. Well, 40's right. They made 40 in 2010.
Let me give you some numbers.
All right.
All right. This was 2010 with the Chiefs. The salaries at that time, because there's salary cap in the NFL, $148 million. Their cut from the NFL for TV and license and all that stuff, just short of $200 million.
And that has nothing to do with whether you're good, bad, or indifferent. That's just
So
existing.
they've more than paid for the salaries just by the cut in the NFL before they do anything else.
And this is every team because the salary cap's the same, and every team gets the same share of all those.
Right.
Now, the total revenue was 302. I imagine there's other places, Dallas and New York and other places that make more than $100 million in a season in revenue above what the NFL gives them. What was interesting was ticket sales were down 20% from 2 years previous, but they still did this. And the revenue increased from $231 million to $302 million, which is a 35% increase, even though the attendance was down 20%.
Right, because the NFL Network and the TV contract kicked in and more than made up for the difference.
So where's the incentive to win?
There isn't. What? If you're a Cleveland fan, you're very familiar with how this works. If you're a Lions fan, you're very familiar with how
Yeah,
this
but the
works.
Lions are always spend money. They just don't do it wisely.
I understand that.
Well,
They're always near the top in the NFL of team salaries.
And that's why the NFL has a floor on their salary cap. There's also a salary floor that you can't can't tank like in the Major League Baseball. You can have a $40 million salary if you want.
right.
But you can't do that in the NFL. It's usually 90 or 100 million, somewhere around there.
But you didn't bring up the net number. So the net of that was $40 million for the owners.
Supposedly, yeah.
Right. And what I find interesting is, let's say that's doubled by 2019. So let's say it's $80 million. Nick Foles is going to get franchised after he's now opted out or whatever else, and that's $25 million. So the quarterback's making a third of what the owner makes. I mean, to me, it's not as disparate. I was shocked it wasn't worse
But
when I read
this is Kansas City.
I didn't.
This is not a big market team. This is Kansas City. How much revenue do you think that Jerry Jones brings in a year?
I don't know, and I still hate him. But
I
that's
bet
a whole,
it's at least double that.
Well, correct. Jerry's doing just fine, but Jerry's the goofball that would spend it if they'd let him, right? If there was no cap, Jerry'd be the Steinbrenner guy, just
Well, but
blowing wads of money on wide receivers like it's making it rain at strip clubs.
and we all know there are.
It was just for you.
There are a lot of ways to make your books look a certain way that you're not making as much money as you are.
Some franchises, Huizenga used to do this in Miami, would take his blockbuster losses and put them on the team.
Well, and I know
to make the balance sheet not look as good.
When Ted Turner owned both the Braves and TBS, he purposely signed a terrible TV. TBS paid $1 million for the TV rights when they were nationwide,
right?
But just so the Braves could show less of a profit, and there's a lot of ways you can do that kind of stuff. But the thing that I saw, because I don't remember the exact number, but I think in the story it said they're making $300 million, and I think $6 million of it came from parking. Now, if your parking is that small of a percentage of your revenue, why not? If a team said, "Hey, free parking, just come park. If you bought tickets, come in and park." You're going to lose $6 million, but how much are you gaining in extra people that are coming?
Or just make it reasonable. Because instead of $50 to park or something like that.
$60 to park at a Chiefs game this year.
I could draw you the economics chart that says that that's bad economic theory because if
they'll fill up. I'll guarantee you they'll fill up.
But that doesn't necessarily produce more revenue. I mean, to me, that's just a business macro model. And the reality is, if enough people don't come, something happens. But Kansas City has been a very loyal sports town to all of their franchises for years, and particularly to the Chiefs. It might have been down 20%, and that was on the heels of some really bad seasons. I mean, they're sold out all the time now.
Yeah, but the other issue that we're not including into this conversation is that Kansas City has a monopoly on NFL football in Kansas City. They have no competitors. I mean, you're competing obviously for entertainment dollars, but when it comes to if you want to see professional football, you got to go watch the Kansas City Chiefs here in Kansas City.
Well, that's true of every NFL town, save two.
So instead
by the way, in Los Angeles, you have choices and no one wants either choice because no one goes to any of them.
I'm saying next time you hear somebody blame the players for how much tickets cost and how much concessions cost, doesn't have anything to do with it.
Well, yeah, blaming the players is crazy. That's illogical.
But we do it all the time because we know that, Derek Carr makes $25 million a year.
Don't throw me in the we because I don't. I think the players should get every penny they can.
Did I say you? No.
And if you're an owner and want to overpay one, hey, so be it. That's great for that player.
But I can't imagine that revenue number that the Chiefs had in 2010 at 302, Dallas was probably at least double.
Oh, Dallas is $500 million that year because Dallas owns and Jerry owns the stadium.
So basically, anything above 250 is flat out profit.
Well, but I'm sure the stadium the stadium isn't owned by the Cowboys.
No,
I'm sure there's a different
Jerry's
entity that owns it.
Jerry World Inc.
Right.
I mean, that's why they call it Jerry World.
So the Dallas Cowboys didn't make all that money that Jerry's making when they host the college games.
Right. So like you're saying about cooking the books, maybe they're paying a ridiculous amount to Jerry World Inc. So the Cowboys made nothing.
All right, we got to take a break. This coming up segment, this time it's not Marty's head that's going to explode. As we talk, what new baseball rules might be right around the corner. Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. We'll be right back.
Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good no matter what your taste. It's that good. Come early, stay late. Burgers and beer, a shot of cheer. Great food and fun. It's that good here. Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good.
Mortgage Marty here. It's spring buying season's right around the corner. In fact, now is the best time to get started. Gives us a little lead time. If there's things we need to tweak, we can get on it right away. Remember, those credit inquiries don't affect your score any more than they will if you check later. So one inquiry, whether it's now and then again in the spring, still only counts as one, won't hurt your score. We helped 3 customers this week improve their score by an average of 30 points. So reach out now. Let's get that started. 419-461-0667 or marty.bin, B-I-H-N, at fairwaymc.com.
It's February Fury as Powerbomb Wrestling is back in action in Toledo on Sunday, February the 10th at 5 p.m. at St. Clements Hall, 2990 Tremainsville Road. Unchained Brandon Day defends the heavyweight title against former champion, the amazing Nate Matson. Also, Madman Fulton, the Circus of Pain, Sexy Sean Casey, Malice, Ben Boone, Queen Amanada, and more in action. Get your advanced discount tickets right now at pbwexcitement.com. It's coming up February the 10th. It's Powerbomb Wrestling. And welcome back. Front Row Roundtable Show presented by Ralphie's. I'm Norm Waymer. This is Big John Milkowski. This is Marty Bin. Baseball rule changes. 'Tis the season.
I'm going to hold my head on here before the.
Well, I think it was great that during the break you became the Judge Smales of this whole thing, and we got Al over here. And I don't know. I'm either Chevy Chase or Danny Noonan in the whole thing, and
The players have countered with some proposals because there's been some things floated out there. Let's tackle these one by one.
well, first let's give them all a little credit for at least they're talking. I mean, at least there's a little dialogue because in baseball,
Something's happening.
yeah, I mean, it's better than what's been in the
I'd
past.
like
which
some
is-
players to sign contracts somewhere, but I
that
guess
would
this
be
is
fun,
something.
too. Yes.
These are basically pace of play rules.
Which- okay, before we get to
go
that.
ahead. All right.
If I'm going to a baseball game, whether the game lasts 3 hours or 2 hours and 45 minutes, what's the difference? I'm still blocking out 3 hours of time to go. I don't.
Because we're diehard fans, we don't care how long a game lasts. I drove to Cincinnati one time for a matinee, and it was a 2-hour game. I drove 4 hours for a 2-hour game, and then turned around and drive 4 hours again. I felt cheated.
But okay.
Tom Browning pitched that game.
But if a family goes, and you're going to a baseball game, what's the difference between 10 minutes going to make? I mean, if you're taking the family and going to a game, and not even being a diehard, what's the difference between a 3-hour game and a 2-hour and 50-minute game?
I got to hold my head together.
I don't know
Because the
it's not
difference
like-
is like every time the pitching change comes in and they throw to one guy 2 pitches and then they bring another guy in and I got to watch him rake the infield and play stupid
So it's
music.
not about
and-
length
and
of
the-
game.
I could care less about length of game. It's continuous action and the breaks of boredom
so-
drive me.
okay.
But see-
I'm saying I'm with you. I don't care if the game is active and it's enjoyable and it's continuous activity. I don't care whether it's 2.5 hours or 3 hours 15 minutes. But when an hour and 15 minutes of the game is dead time doing absolutely nothing, it drives me crazy.
But if you have to have continuous action, baseball's not for you in the first
Exactly.
place, but you're missing 3/4 of the game. 3/4 of the game is the pitcher and the hitter, the battle between the two of them.
But that's not dead time to
And
me.
nobody explains it. They just think it's a guy throwing the ball and then the guy there standing at the plate trying to hit it. And no explanation, no insight. We need a Tony Romo type to do color. Seriously.
Yes.
You mean Tim McCarver never filled you in like that?
Guys, first of all, you should watch the mitt.
Right.
To see, first of all, if the pitcher hit his spot. Sometimes they hit their spot, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they miss their spot and still get away with it. Not often, but it does happen.
Well, and how many times a guy shakes off a sign, and how many times? I mean, to me, that's
how they set up hitters and things like that,
Right.
and what a hitter's looking for, and what zones are his best zones to hit in, and what the pitcher's trying to do. That's 3/4 of the game. And meanwhile, Joe Buck's talking about God knows what, what they had for lunch yesterday. And anyway, let me run through
Babe
these
Ruth's
here.
girlfriend on the train trip in 1932.
We only have so much time
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry. I thought Joe Buck was talking.
3
Next.
batter minimum for relief pitchers, which would take the one-out lefty guy out of the game.
Love this one.
I hate it.
Sign me up.
I hate it.
Sign me up.
You know what? Let me go down the list here first before I circle back to this. The 20-second pitch count.
2 for 2.
No. All they got to do is not let the batter step out of the box.
3 for 3.
If the pitcher's ready, let him throw the ball. If he's not in the box, that's a hitter's fault.
After seeing the 20-second pitch clock in the minors, it's useless. The guy steps on the mound, and the pitch, as soon as he comes set, the pitch clock stops. If he steps off the mound, fine.
Right.
Then we reset the clock, and he gets another 20 seconds.
But little leaguers do it now. They step out of the box after every pitch.
Oh, yeah.
This has got to start ground up. You couldn't do that in the past.
And high school umpires don't let you get away with that, and high school games move along fantastic, which is awesome. I love going to a high school game because they don't give them time, and the pitcher throws it, and if you're out of the box, it's a strike.
I don't care. You can do the 20-second pitch clock, but do that and keep the batters in the box.
2 for 2. 3 for 3.
Then you don't have to. The 3-batter minimum will get solved by something else. Universal DH.
4 for 4.
No.
Yep. We just hit for the cycle.
God, it's so overdue.
Oh.
It's the only league other than, I think one of the Japanese leagues is the only other league that doesn't use the DH in all of baseball. They use it Little League, travel ball, to high school, college, minors.
Not in the minors when 2 NL teams play each other. Then you got pitchers hitting again.
And how exciting is that? What is sports without entertainment?
Super Bowl 53.
Soccer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This was good. Says expanding the rosters to 26 with a 12-pitcher max.
What good does that do?
Well, it's one extra,
then you got
it's
more
one extra
hitters.
contract for the players to get more money for the union. That's a genius.
It used to be players had 3 options. And after 3 options, then you had to run them through waivers. Now it's 3 years of options, and there's unlimited ups and downs. That's what's causing the functional 15-man pitching staff. If they just fix that, then they don't need everything.
The Orioles 2 years ago, the only guys on there, they had no minor leaguer position players that were on the 40-man roster.
Right.
Single trade deadline before the All-Star break. Now they used to have it on June 15th. I'll tell you one thing that would help. It would help the minor leaguers that get buried and they don't call them up because they don't want to start their clock. If you can't run out all the way through August and really into September, if you do a waiver type of thing, you can't run out and pick somebody off another team. You got to pull them guys out of the minors. That might help that situation.
Well, they got to help that by getting rid of the Super 2. I mean, that's what they need to get rid of.
Well, there's a hybrid of that proposal in this proposed contract.
And that's, I mean, I would be in favor of that because this, I mean, there's plenty of guys this year who will probably start. Vlad Guerrero, Eloy Jimenez, probably going to start in the minors this year just because they get an extra year.
Of course, I think your clock should start. You should be charged for the full year of experience if you get called up before September 1st. That would take care of it too.
Yeah, that's a lot of extra, especially when you're talking accruing for your pension and stuff like that. I mean, that's a lot of extra time.
So? Do you like minor leaguers getting buried? I don't think it's socialist.
No, but
this is actually, if you want to get to the heart of it, it's supposed to be capitalism, but they have an exemption,
right?
Antitrust exemption. Yeah. So don't give me that in this argument. All right, we got to go.
I'm only trying to weave politics into
Saturday Night Live next. Powerbomb Wrestling coming your way at 2 a.m. Don't forget about our wrestling event, St. Clements Hall, 5 o'clock on Sunday, and we'll see you next week.